Ukrainian President Zelensky is refusing to back down, vowing to stay in Kyiv despite the Russian military's vicious attack on his country and hit squads trying to hunt him down. Zelensky revealing his location in the war-torn capital of Kyiv and sending this defiant message.
I stay here in Kyiv at Bankova Street. I don't hide, and I'm not afraid of anyone. I will stay here as long as it's necessary to win in our patriotic war.
And as President Zelensky begs the West for more help, Poland today announcing it is prepared to deploy MiG-29 fighter jets to a U.S. and NATO airbase in Germany, giving America the option to transfer those aircraft to Ukraine. The State Department says it was caught off guard. So let's go to Mike Tobin. He's in Lviv, Ukraine, with the latest there. Good evening, Mike. I think it's just after midnight there.
It is. And Poland was reluctant to make this move, fearing that slippery slope to combat of East versus West if they were to donate the aircraft. And suddenly there came this announcement today that Poland would donate its fleet of MiG-29s with the promise that the U.S. would backfill them with F-16s. The problem with it is U.S. officials say they were blindsided by this announcement. Here's the Undersecretary of State.
And I saw that announcement by the government of Poland as I was literally driving here today. To my knowledge, it wasn't pre-consulted with us that they plan to give these planes to us. But as you know, we have been having consultations with them for a couple of days now about this request from the Ukrainians to receive their aircraft.
Now, the Ukrainians would welcome this development because their pilots are trained to fly the MiGs, and this seems to be a mechanism through which the Polish government can put it back on NATO by putting the planes back into the Ramstein Air Force Base. But again, the Ukrainians have requested time and time again for a no-fly zone, or the way the Ukrainians put it, to close the sky. They feel it would be a step toward equalizing this fight. In fact, one of the refugees that I spoke with yesterday said they very much want to close the skies because if you can take the fight to the ground, he said, we kill them like rats. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mike Tobin, thank you. Stay safe, and we'll see you later tonight, I'm sure. Jesse, what do you think about this move by the Poles?
Poles really tried to force our hand, didn't they? Came out of nowhere. I don't think the Poles want their hands dirty, but do we want our hands dirty? Why transfer the jets to Ramstein? That's a U.S. airbase, technically, in Germany. It seems convoluted to me, but again, this is Europe again trying to drag the United States into a land war, potentially, in Europe, where they should be the ones taking the lead. This is a NATO alliance. It's a defensive alliance. Let's not expand it and play a game of chicken with someone who has nothing to lose. Putin has nothing to lose. His economy is cratering. This is his last gasp here. This is all or nothing for him. And why would you play chicken with someone like that? He's just going to go all out. So it's incredibly risky. I'd like to just be a little more measured. You know, we give them things here, we give them things there, we kind of ramp up, see how Russia reacts. Because if we just start sending aircraft into that war zone, I mean, what happens if that pilot engages a Russian anti-aircraft battalion down on the ground? So we're taking out Russian anti-aircraft batteries in Russia proper or Belarus? I mean, that's how you have to defend yourself in the sky. I'm just afraid of this thing spiraling out of control. We have gone the entire Cold War with never having to get involved with a shooting war with the Russians. And then now all of a sudden we're going to escalate right on their front door. I mean, I like the idea. This is a proxy war now, right? We're in a proxy war, and we're doing it right on their doorstep. I get it. That's where we are now. But the jet thing seems a little risky. And I'm not ready to say, hey, Biden, you're a commander-in-chief, you're in charge, I trust you. This is not a guy I trust to manage this type of delicate deal with the Russians who are desperate right now.
Well, the other thing is earlier today we were told that there was frustration that this decision-making was stuck at the White House. And we asked Admiral Kirby about that. He's like, oh, no, everything's fine. Well, clearly everything was not fine, Geraldo. If the Poles decided, like, okay, we will force your hand and send these to Ramstein.
You know, I think that the whole idea of it, in theory, is fine and noble, and it sounds like it would be effective, and it would answer our nagging, gut-wrenching feeling that we're allowing the Ukrainians to be pummeled from the air by the Russians' air superiority. But I don't see it happening mechanically. It's what do? You send the Ukrainian pilots to Germany. Then you got to check them out. You got to make sure that they can integrate the Polish instrumentation with the Ukrainian air defenses.
That's what happened
and so
in World
forth.
War II.
I think that in World War II and Lend-Lease it happened, but it took a long time. Yep. And Europe is still mad at us for taking so long to get involved, to get engaged. I like the idea in theory. I just don't see it. I agree with Jesse about the need to be measured and not provoke, a wounded lion there. One quick thing about Zelensky and his safety. I think Zelensky is already immortal. He's already Leonidas. He's already Churchill. They can't kill Zelensky. Even if they kill him, he will live on forever. Now, I don't want it to be reckless, and I think that he's poking Putin maybe unnecessarily. He has made his point. He's very flamboyant in it, and now I want him to keep trucking.
What about you, Judge? You've got a pensive look on your face.
Yeah, I have to tell you, the U.S. has always taken the lead with NATO. And I think, that this is very complicated. But I also think that if Poland is willing to give, the MiGs to the Ukrainians, and that our job would be to backfill, what is the problem? And you mentioned it, Geraldo, and I throw this out for discussion only, with the Ukrainian getting that plane from Poland or from Germany and flying it. I mean, these people were watching the massacre of a nation and children. This is cannibalism, what's going on there. It's terrorism.
I agree with that.
This is medieval. And so we got to make sure they know how to fly the plane. Baloney. Let them, if we can get the planes to them, and make no mistake, Putin is going to change the rules at every turn. If you provide a plane, you're provoking us. If you do this, you're provoking me. At some point, we've got to stand up and say, we're stronger than you are, you little...
What if he fires a tactical nuclear weapon?
Well, that's the problem.
That's
the problem. And what if we like kowtow, and so he's got no incentive to not do it, and say, we're not even going to do our nuclear exercises because we don't want to intimidate him. Greg, we've got the wrong guy in the White House.
Lots to choose from there.
Yeah, I think that the overarching message is we should be very wary of being pulled into anything based on narratives coming out of Ukraine or Russia. There's a lot of stuff that we hear about that turns out not to be true. The media is framing this in a way that is, and this isn't my analogy, but this is the way I feel, that Ukraine is like the child of a divorce, and they're fighting for custody, and Russia is the biological parent, and we are the stepmom who doesn't want the abusive dad to get him. That may not be an accurate analogy, but that's how I feel the narrative dynamic is going. And I see, this is what I give credit to Zelensky, is that this is the old world versus the new world. Putin thinks the world is only about seizing land, but Zelensky understands in a world of connectivity, you're seizing minds now. He's fighting a persuasive battle for minds, and he's kicking Putin's butt on this. Whether the stuff that Zelensky is saying is actually true, it's positively Trumpian what Zelensky's doing. I love Zelensky the way a chicken loves the guy who feeds him pellets, because I'm in an industry where I love getting that pellet every day and learning what I'm going to say. But you have to wonder when you're listening to this stuff and whether these pellets are real or not, whether we are being artificially pulled into a conflict, right? Through this David and Goliath narrative that we're being given.
But it's true.
Well, maybe it is.
Yeah, it is
maybe
true.
it is.
Look.
Is it true? Maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying you have to be aware of what's true versus what stands out. Everyday planes leave every second of the day. The only thing that stands out is when a plane crashes. So we like the stuff that stands out to be reported, but it's not necessarily representative of reality. We have to ask ourselves every day, are we being manipulated into entering a war that we should be no part of? And I resent anybody saying, oh, you must be pro-Russia or pro-Putin. No, I'm just pro-America.
But you can't deny your eyes, though. You can't.
Well,
I understand that.
Are you arguing for getting involved then?
I think what I argue is getting involved as far as we can get involved, giving them everything they possibly need that we have up until, like the javelins, the Stingers, the other of the shoulder-fired missiles. We're knocking helicopters and aircraft, the Russians, out of the sky. If the story is true that David is now mustering his strength and is taking on this Goliath effectively, and the convoy is still stalled and weapons are being, tanks abandoned and crews surrendering, it could happen that it's a happy ending.
I hope so.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.